Excuse me. Hi, my name is Courtney, and I am very passionate about helping women with invisible illnesses realize that you can still lead a pretty healthy and active lifestyle. It's just not going to be the one you had envisioned for yourself, but the time is going to pass regardless. Whoops, sorry. And I mean, what the hell are you going to do? What else you can do about it? Truly, I don't know if I had any sound before. Ha ha ha! I hope so because I am not doing the introduction again. I am so freaking tired, y'all. I am too old. I am too old to have been awake for as long as I was. So here's my misadventures in air travel. So flying from Fairbanks, Alaska to Tyler, Texas, it's going to be a long day regardless. Even if everything goes perfectly smoothly, you're looking at about 3 hours, 45 minutes from Fairbanks to Seattle, another 3.5 to 3.75 hours from Seattle to Dallas, and then it's about 30 minutes to Tyler. Well, so you're looking at roughly 8 hours, 8 hours and 15 minutes to 8.5 hours of travel without layovers. And of course, I had layovers. So I left Fairbanks at 11:45 Sunday night, which is 2 2:45 Central. So 2:45 Texas time, Monday morning. The flight to Seattle went great. We took off on time. Everything went pretty smooth. It was really crowded, but it was a pretty good flight all in all. Except that almost everyone except me, because I knew I was coming to Texas and I didn't need a heavy coat. Everyone else had a heavy coat, and the lady next to me, and I couldn't be upset with her. It was cold in Fairbanks, so she had this big heavy coat, and it was everywhere. It was all over. I just felt really squished out. But again, I wasn't upset about it because she needed a coat. I get that. It was a little I was mildly irritated. The night flight. What can I say? But it was a good flight overall. Real smooth, real quiet, no big deal. Well, when I was sitting in the Fairbanks airport waiting for my flight, I was knitting, and this young lady, she was so cute. She comes running up to me. "What are you making?" And I said, "A washcloth." In fact, I have my knitting right here. This isn't the same washcloth. I finished that one, but I held it up and I said, "I'm making a little washcloth." Now I have a hard time holding it up because I didn't plan on doing this, but I'm getting pretty good. I'm a brand new knitter. And she said, "I'm making a scarf." And she pulls out this really long scarf she was making. She has 3 kids, and she was making them all Harry Potter scarves. And she had made, I don't know the Harry Potter stuff well enough, but each of the kids had like a different house. So she had made the other two. So the last one she was finishing. And I was really impressed because she told me she's a beginning knitter, and she had different colored yarn woven in there. And I was like, "Damn, girl, that's good." But so we bonded over our knitting. She was so cute. She said, "My husband told me that only old ladies knit." And I'm going to tell him that I met someone that's not old and who knits. And it's like, "Oh, honey, I can almost promise your husband is going to think that I'm old." But anyway, we really got along. So we decided we had very similar layovers in Seattle. So we decided we would meet up in Seattle and hang out. So we did. And we went and got breakfast together and just hung out and knitted and talked. I really liked her. We ended up exchanging phone numbers. We've been staying in touch. Of course, it's only been a few days, but um, time came. She went to her gate. Now, when she had to go to her gate, I had to go get on the trams and go to the next terminal to catch my flight. Everything started pretty smoothly. In fact, I was really happy. It was a crowded plane, but I like to sit on the aisle so I can get up because the fibro demons don't like to fly. And there was an empty seat in the middle. So the lady on the window and I were both like, "This is awesome." Well, it was not awesome for very long. So they do the safety briefing. We're getting ready to go. They just barely pushed us back from the gate and they stopped. The lady and I were like, "Huh." We just sat there for a long time, probably a good 45 minutes without them really saying much. And then the pilot came on and he said, "I'm really sorry. We're having a mechanical issue. It's something with the air conditioner. We're waiting for a mechanic to come and sign off on it." And we were like, do we really need an air conditioner to fly? But side note, I don't think it was the air conditioner, but I'll get to that. So the mechanic finally comes on. And by the time he does his thing and gives us the go ahead and signs all the paperwork. We were sitting there probably 2 hours, maybe a little more. We sat there long enough that when they pushed us back again, they had to do the safety briefing again. And it was really funny because the lady next to me, and we were both just like, we haven't gone anywhere. Why do these poor flight attendants have to do this? And I heard the flight attendant tell somebody, I know, I'm sorry, but it's just, we have to do it. We sat here long enough. We have to do this again, which I actually thought that was kind of funny. Rules are rules. But we're like, yes, we're going to go. We're going to go. And we get out on the taxiway and we taxi for a little bit and we stopped. And then we sat there. Not nearly as long as the first set, but we sat there probably 30 to 45 minutes. And the pilot finally was like, yeah, we are going back to the gate. Everybody's getting off the plane. And what they told us, and this is not a dig at the airlines. Alaska Airlines is absolutely amazing. And I would sure as hell rather you deplaned me for a mechanical problem than put me up in the air knowing there's a mechanical problem. But I don't think it was the air conditioner, because when they first told us that, it was like, well, there's a redundancy, so we're not going to worry about it. We're just going to go. And then it was like, yeah, we're not going to go because of the air conditioner. So no, I don't think it was the air conditioner, but that's it. That's just me, I guess, grumbling, because it's really pretty irrelevant to the story. So we go back to the airport. Everybody gets off the plane. And they said, don't go anywhere. You need to stay right by the gate because we're not sure how we're going to handle this yet. We got to try to find another plane. So you're in trouble when that starts, right? Well, they eventually decided we'd wait for another flight to come in. So, we'd have a plane that wasn't broken because that's important. Well, that took so long that one of the pilots timed out. So then we had to wait for another pilot to show up. We finally left, I don't know, 4 or 5. I think it was 5 hours late. I don't know. Time was running together pretty hard by that point. But obviously, I and many other people missed our connections. Well, I was supposed to get into Tyler about 6:15. The next flight into Tyler wasn't supposed to land until 11:15. Crap, this is not very good. But I get to I get to Dallas. I'm just so exhausted. I'm staggering around the airport. I got my 10,000 steps in, partly because I was too afraid if I sat down, I'd fall asleep and miss the flight. But then we finally get on the plane in Tyler. And of course, it's just a little puddle jumper. And we get out on the taxiway and we sat there and we sat there and we sat there. Why? Because there were some big storms going on around Tyler. And of course, they don't want to take a little puddle jumper right into the middle of a storm, especially with tornado warnings around. Or maybe it was a tornado watch. I don't remember. I was so damn tired at that point. By this point in the night, the fibro demons are furious. It's hard for me to sit. I don't like to travel much because it's hard for me to sit still very long. And like I told the lady on the flight to Dallas, I said, I don't want to sound like I'm being really bitching and whining, but this is really hard on my body to make these flights. And now we've got an extra 2 hours sitting on this plane. I'm going to be screwed. So the fibro demons are furious. I'm literally so exhausted. I'm about hysterical. I was right on the verge of having the uncontrollable giggles. And I was terrified if I sat down, I was going to go to sleep. Well, a friend of mine asked me, hey, how was your flight? And I started to type in the words, it was awful. Actually, I did type them in and then I deleted them. And I said, well, it was a very challenging day. So I went through all the crap that I just told you, all these weird, it was just freak accidents, just excuse the language, but shit happens. There's nothing you can do about any of that. It really wasn't it was a very gosh damn long day. It was a frustrating day. The fibro demons were really pissed off at me, but I can't say it was a bad day. I got to meet Emily and hang out with her, and we really had a lot of fun. We just really connected. The gate crew for Alaska Airlines, the gate crew in Seattle was amazing. These people, I'm standing there watching. There is so much going on, and they're dealing with this problem and that problem, and the person in front of them, and the phones are ringing, and it was chaotic. But Kim and Oksana Yes, you damn right I got their names. And I already gave their kudos to Alaska Airlines. They handled it all so calmly, so smoothly. Nobody was ugly. None of the passengers got ugly. The crew was fantastic. We had the same flight attendants, and I ended up, because I have a hard time sitting so long, I ended up standing in the galley and talking to the flight attendants. Elliot and Ashley were fabulous. And Ashley and I were having a conversation because I don't even know how the hell it started. It's basically like, please don't make me go sit down. My legs are killing me. So we just started talking, and I started asking her how much she likes her job. And I said, I thought before about doing that. And she said, you should. You have the personality for it. You'd be great at it. So we started talking about what they make and everything. And she really encouraged me to apply. And then Elliot spoke up and encouraged me. And they started telling me about all the cool trips that they take because they get flight benefits. My point is, I met more great people. Then when I got to Dallas, I had stopped at a Fridays in DFW on my way up. I think it was in the E terminal, wherever it was. I really liked my waitress. So I asked for her when I went back. Well, she was off, but there was another waitress there who had remembered me from the previous week because of my knitting. Knitting is apparently quite the conversation starter at airports. I had no idea, but she remembered me. And so she took really good care of me, and she was real kind and empathetic to the fact that I was like, I'm so freaking tired. So I finally left there because I knew if I sat there, I'd just have another cocktail. And that was not going to help my fatigue situation. So I went over to the terminal where my little regional airline left from. And I'm like, crap, I got a few hours. What am I going to do? So you know what I did? I drug my purse and my carry-on up and down. They had this really, really long hallway. And it was honestly, it was a little bit creepy. And I wasn't the only one who thought so. I'd see other people. This one lady was like, this is really weird down here. But it was great for me because it was really long and straight, and I just drug my crap back and forth until I got my 10,000 steps in, because what the hell else was I going to do with my time? I was afraid of sitting down. I finally was so tired I had to go sit down. So I sat down. They have these little tables where you can plug in your electronics. So I'm on one side, and this little girl and her grandmother came and sat across from me. And the little girl was just so cute. She looks at me, she goes, oh, you're knitting. So, of course, that started the conversation. And I finally said, I need to ask you a big favor. Of course, Grandma's just like, oh, excuse me. I said, will you please make sure that I don't fall asleep and miss this plane? Well, she was 6 years old. And when you ask a 6-year-old to do something that important, they take that very seriously. And you could tell she was so delighted that I had asked her. And she did make sure. In fact, it was really cool. I love people in East Texas. There was a gentleman sitting at the table next to us, and he turned around and he said, ma'am, are you going to Tyler? I said, yes, sir. He said, we'll all make sure you get on the flight, I promise. And the little girl's like, oh, I'm going to make sure she gets on the flights. But it was nice. They had all these strangers looking out for me. Well, I could have looked at this as it was a long, crappy day. But, and in a lot of regards, it was a long, crappy day. But I also got to meet some really incredible people, and I got to see a lot of kindness in the world in spite of everybody being stressed out and tired. And I'm grateful for that. And it's so easy for us to just focus on the less than pleasant aspects of life, and this sucked and that was horrible. And well, sure, it sucked. I would have much rather gotten here when I was originally supposed to get here. But I can guarantee you everybody else on that flight would have rather gotten to their destinations when they were supposed to get there. But things happen. Things happen that are out of our control, and there's no point in getting pissed off and stomping around and acting the fool about it. It's a choice. When you're faced with a situation like that, it's your choice how you want to respond to it. You can either go with that initial gut reaction of, oh, gosh, damn, this makes me so upset. Okay. And do you think you're any different than anyone else sitting there at that freaking gate waiting for news and waiting for flights and worrying about connections? You ain't no different. You're not any more special than anyone else. So instead of giving into that impulse, why don't you take an emotional step back and look for things to be grateful for? Yeah, it was a long, crappy day, but I met some freaking cool people. In fact, when I left Fridays, Tanya gave me a hug. Yes, I know her name. And I told her I will see her the next time I'm in the airport because I always fly Alaska Airlines because they're way better than anyone else I've ever flown. But anyway, that's my tale. It was really kind of disjointed. I hope that came out smoother than I feel like it did, but I'm still so freaking tired. I was looking at my Fitbit this morning and it was funny. There's a place that shows you your sleep score and it has these little, like a little bar graph, shows you how many hours of sleep you have. Sunday and Monday are both no sleep. I did get to sleep Tuesday morning at like 3. But yeah, it was rough. I am too old. I am too old to be up that long. But I got my friend Emily. I got to hang out with a really cute, fun little girl and her grandma who was really an attractive woman and very kind. I got to spend time with Tanya at Fridays. I got to hang out with Ashley and Elliot for a little bit on the flight, and I got to meet Kim and Oksana, who took really good care of me. So, you know, all in all, it was a pretty damn good day. Anyway, I am done rambling. Y'all have a great night, and I will be back Friday at 7 o'clock